fruits and vegetables. Let's go. Okay, regardless if you like them or not, you have to eat them. They're an essential part of your nutrition. But you can't go to the luscious fields and pick them straight from the branch and eat them on the spot. You can, but you really shouldn't. You have to wash them first. Because if you don't wash them first and you eat them, then by the end of the day, you could be sicker than ever. I first started getting into the whole washing process of fresh fruit in my biotechnology class in high school. We did this examination on a freshly picked peach where we examined all the bacteria that laid on the outside. I always found it so fascinating, and then I researched what to wash and what not to wash, and I'm happy to share that with you today. So I'll be going over the multiple different aspects of the process of washing and understanding where your food comes from and when it's appropriate to wash, the pathogens that lie on it, and the new technology that's needed to develop in order to prevent foodborne illnesses. So we begin with a farm, and the food goes from there to markets and grocery stores. And this is where it's important to know where your fresh food comes from and when to wash them. If you get them freshly picked from a local farm like Slow Veg, then it's necessary for them to be washed really thoroughly because of the bacteria and the pesticides that will be most likely on them because they're really local. While if you get your fresh food more from a market, like the Thursday Slow Farmers Market downtown, then you're most likely just to rinse them because most of the washing has already been done and removed most of the bacteria on them. And then that brings up the whole debate of organic foods. Now, a lot of time people think that you don't have to wash organic foods because they don't use as many pesticides. But in 2017, the Environmental Working Group published a statement in News Reporter Staff of Chemistry and Chemicals saying, and I quote, organic products can be contaminated thanks to something called pesticide drift. So pesticide drift is whenever droplets or dust of pesticide applications get away from the targeted area. If I were to spray Maddie with water, the people around her would also get wet. It's the same with pesticides. So you have to wash organic food just as much as you wash unorganic food. And then we go to the food that is in grocery stores. If the food is a sealed package, it doesn't need to be washed. The FDA stated in January of 2020 in the method for producing vegetables, washing packaged foods is unnecessary because the process is already involved in washing with chemically graded equipment. It's counterproductive, basically. Then we move on to the pathogens that are found in food. Pathogens are bacteria, virus, or microorganisms that can cause diseases. But not all bacteria are pathogens because some are healthy for you to consume. There are different pathogens that are found in fresh food that are related to foodborne illnesses. The CDC reported in 2018 in their Foodborne Illness PDF article established that each year there are 48 million people affected with 128,000 hospitalized and 3,000 dead. To put it in perspective, that would be as if the entire SLO County was hospitalized and our wonderful liberal arts department was pronounced dead. It's not a huge, large amount in comparison, but it's still effective because it's a preventable thing. And it all begins with eating unwashed products. And the most common bacteria that you can consume are Salmonella, E. coli, Listeria, and norovirus. I'm sorry if I pronounce this wrong. And there's a real-life example of a foodborne pathogen. Those are my pathogens. A real-life example of foodborne pathogen as in E. coli. Back in 2006, spinach got infected. Spinach was found with E. coli and affected 200 people. 31 experiencing kidney failure, and there were 3 deaths. Now, recently, E. coli has been the most prominent one. Salmonella is normally the one that's the most major, but this one has been being presented more. The Minnesota Department of Health established their online publication called Minimizing the Risk, stating that the simple measure of washing raw foods and then washing the area around your raw food can really immensely impact whether or not you get contaminated with certain bacteria. And then we move on to the technology. Technology is being developed in order to promote the wellness of people against these illnesses. One method that's being perfected is called chemical disinfectant to maintain the microbial quality of water. Basically means that chemical agents are used to break down the microorganisms in order to perfect water quality, so that when they rinse the wonderful water in these lovely machines, then the water is good, making thus the food good. But there's a problem. In the European Food Safety Authority journal published in September 2019 by a research group, they proved the ineffectiveness in this process, as the chemical disinfectants leads to the formation of byproducts, and this causes health risks. So basically, they use the chemical chloride, and so when they produce the chemical chloride in order to wash the water, it produces byproducts along with it that contaminates the food, which thus makes it worse. So it's a process that we're currently using that really needs to be further developed and changed. But this is not the only thing. In 2017, Journal of Food Protection published Allen Press claimed about 70% of food produced sold in the United States has pesticide residue on it after being washed. This means that the technology is not being developed in order to get rid of those pesticides once they leave the farms. But this tedious task is figuring out how to fix this problem is taken on by multiple universities, including Cal Poly. And this is a lovely chart to show you exactly how much vegetables can hurt you if you don't wash them. So overall, you really have to take into account where your food comes from, when you should wash them, the pesticides that can be found on them, and the technology that is needed today in order to help against foodborne illnesses. It's hard to be healthy, but it is not dangerous, so wash your fruits and veggies.